Before we get started with the video, I want to make something very clear. I am not here to tell you whether or not to buy Black Ops 7. This is going to be how the beta felt for me, a casual Call of Duty player. The open beta starts this weekend on the 5th, so if anything, I implore you to try out the beta for yourself so you can formulate your own opinion. The reason why I decided to make this video is because Call of Duty is in its most contentious state that I have not seen since back when Infinite Warfare came out. So many people are already dismissing the game before even trying it with their own two hands. Of course, I understand why, and everyone is entitled to their own thoughts and opinions. But at the very least, the Call of Duty community deserves to know how the game feels from multiple different people's perspectives. And I'm people. So let's get to the nitty-gritty. A few things to note right before we get started. 1. This is the perspective from a controller player with a skill range of mediocre to average. I'm not here hitting quick scopes or anything like that. I just hop on, shoot, get my score, get my serotonin, and that's it. 2. This is from the first day of the beta, so weapon numbers and other in-game stats can change on release. But for the most part, let's assume that things are going to remain largely unchanged when the game fully releases. And 3. You're free to comment your thoughts on the game, but I, at the very least, wish to ask that you watch a good chunk of the video before you write down what you think. And if you do want to make your own stance on the game, please just say more than, oh, bad, lol, or anything like that. Please give a detailed description as to why you think this way. That way, if we want Call of Duty to ever get better, they'll know what to work on. I will be talking about the game in 3 different segments. Gameplay, which does cover weapons, movements, perks, and everything that you as a player have control over. Next, I'll be talking about the setting and aesthetic, which covers the stylistic choices of the game. And finally, I'll go over what I'll praise the game for and my concerns. Remember that positives and negatives are subjective, so there could be things that I liked that the others do not. Okay, now that we got that segment out of the way, I'm just going to be talking here, no script, no nothing, just stating what it is that I found myself, rather, how the beta felt for me. Now, there are people out there who are saying that Black Ops 7 is essentially just a $70 DLC of Black Ops 6. Where have we heard that one before? Modern Warfare 3 2023 pretty much suffered from the same thing. However, I don't see that argument holding up the same way this time around like it did for 2023. When it comes to Black Ops 6 with the weapons, let's think of it this way. Back in Black Ops 6, if you used anything that was not an assault rifle or an SMG, you were holding yourself back essentially. There was really no reason to use any other weapons except for those ones because, well, they're not as effective as the 30-round AR or 30-round SMG. And, of course, those types of weapons exist in Black Ops 7 as well. But, from what I can say, let's just say what's obvious here. They're easy to use, they're reliable, and you're not going to really have too much issue running those weapons when playing your games. But in terms of Black Ops 7, you can definitely tell that the weapon diversity is much more healthier in this game than it was in Black Ops 6, at least for the beta. The shotgun especially was very powerful, having exceptionally good range and damage. I was able to one-tap people from a pretty fair distance, really. The only thing that felt weird was that there was a minor delay between me pulling the trigger on my controller and then when the weapon actually fires. But that's just me. That's just that shotgun in general. I'm pretty sure, as of this point, I haven't used the other shotgun, but I'm pretty sure that it's not going to have that same problem. It's just with the breacher shotgun that everyone starts off with in the beta. I also noticed that the sniper rifle also feels exceptionally good as well. In terms of sniper flinch, yeah, it does exist, but I feel like with how bad it was in Black Ops 6, it's much more tolerable in Black Ops 7. Either that, or I've just gotten so used to the flinch in Black Ops 6 that it feels like nothing in Black Ops 7. It can really go either way. It really depends on what your skill as with a sniper rifle. But the bottom line is that ARs and SMGs are not going to be the most dominant force in this game. Reliable? Preferred? Probably. But that doesn't mean that the other weapons are useless. Shotgun especially. I'm so happy to know that our shotguns are actually effective in close quarters combat and at range. And there's really nothing else to say when it comes to these weapons. They do their job, and they do their job well. Especially the M8. The M8 is a powerful weapon. And yeah, the M8 back in Black Ops 2 was doing some pretty good numbers too. And safe to say, it's back with a vengeance. It's one-tapping people from pretty long ranges, so to say. But, you know, they could always do balance changes in the future. So at this current moment, weapon variety is healthy. In terms of equipment and stuff like that, we have your usuals. I didn't really get to use any of the new ones, like the point turret or things like that. But as of right now, the EMP is the most dominant equipment to be used out there because, well, in a futuristic type game, the EMP basically counters everything, both you as a player and your other equipment or score streaks. And we'll get more into the EMPs later. I do have some things I want to say about it. But essentially, your equipment is largely exactly what you'd expect. You have 2 or 1 at your disposal, and you use them to help you out in a jam. That's basically it. Now, I do also want to talk about the perk system. The perks are largely the same as they were back in Black Ops 6, including the specialist bonuses. Like when you choose 3 red perks, you get the red enforcer specialist bonus. I don't know if that's the correct terminology. It's just what I'm remembering off the top of my head. But this time around, we have hybrid specialties, where if you choose 2 perks of the same color and a third one of a different color, you get a hybrid perk. Now, this is very useful because, you know, if you weren't running the 3 same colored perks in Black Ops 6, using other things didn't really grant you as much of a bonus as running the 3 same colored ones did. But the hybrid ones close the gap, so there's not too big of a discrepancy when using 3 perks of different colors or 3 perks of the same color. It just closes the gap, and the bonus that you get, it's not too shabby. It's not as crazy as the 3 same colored ones, but again, it'll just bridge the gap, and I largely respect that. But there is something I do want to bring up, and it's something that the community has been talking about. The dexterity perk, which allows you for faster movement and as well as full ADS when sliding, jumping, wall running, things like that, or rather wall jumping. And I'll get more into the movement later, but the way I see it, you don't actually need the dexterity perk. Rather, unless you're using, it depends on the playstyle, really, but in reality, full-on ADSing while sliding or wall jumping, you don't really need that. At least from what I've seen other people and myself doing in their playstyles. I'm not against it, but I'm not for it. It's really just based on one person's playstyle. If you're not the type of person who's trying to, you know, get kills while sliding and is rather using it as a means of movement or evading, then you're going to be fine without it. But the way I see it, if you want to be able to do a full ADS while sliding or things like that, then you're going to use that while running maybe a sniper. You can argue for a shotgun as well, but for ARs and SMGs, they're spray weapons. You don't exactly need it for full-on ADSing. You can get the job done just by spraying. But that's just me. So I guess with that topic in mind, we should move on to talking about movement and just how the game feels mechanically. To be honest, there are people who do say that Black Ops 7 feels like Black Ops 6, and for the most part, yeah, it can at times. Omni movement is still present, but tac sprinting has been removed from your base kit, now being catered to a perk. And I don't see the benefit to using the perk to enable tac sprint, when just sprinting like normal gets the job done as it is. Again, depends on playstyle, so it's just from what my standpoint is. In terms of movement in general, we have Omni movement, which we should all be familiar with from the previous game, as well as slide canceling is still present, but I don't see it being as effective this time around as the newest addition to the movement kit, and that's wall jumping. Not to be confused with wall running that we've seen in the advanced movement games. Think of wall jumping as a sort of diet version of the advanced movement from Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. In Advanced Warfare, the movement system had extremes in terms of traversing horizontally and vertically, doing a very high jump or side dashes. Now, Black Ops 7 kind of bridges the gap from boots on the ground to advanced movement. Just run towards a wall, jump, hit the jump button again, and then you'll perform a wall jump. And depending on your current movement, like if you're moving forward, left, right, or backwards, you'll move in that same direction. This can be used for traversing the map in very obvious spaces. There are parts of the map that are very obvious that, hey, you need to perform a wall jump here in order to progress forward. But you can perform it on any vertical surface, really. And now, this is my viewpoint on it, but I don't see people... It's still in its infancy, first of all. Let me get this across. Wall jumping, it's still in its infancy. So right now, it's being used for pretty basic movement and vertical traversing. But you can definitely tell that when people get better with it, they're going to be performing some pretty nifty tricks with it. But you don't have to be very good at the game in order to make the wall jumping mechanic effective. In fact, if anything, it's still good if you're being chased down to go up to a wall, perform a wall jump, and get behind the person who's chasing you down. It's kind of similar to performing a ninja maneuver in Halo multiplayer. Which Halo game, I can't tell you. I haven't ever played a Halo game before. But I know of the ninja. And really, you can perform the same thing in this kind of game. In fact, like I said, it's still in its infancy, and you can perform some pretty neat stuff. In this clip you're about to see right now, I actually used the wall jump mechanic to evade a skewer, which I didn't think was possible. But hey, lo and behold, I got it done. So that's pretty impressive. Yeah, the movement, I should say, feels smooth. It feels fluid. The game as a whole actually does feel fluid. There's barely anything that feels clunky or slow, and the game in itself as well moves pretty fast, and that goes back to the weapons. Time to kill is pretty fast. Everything is happening all at once, at least in respawn modes. I can't say for certain how this is going to affect one life modes like search and destroy, obviously. But on the 5th, the beta will release search and destroy, so we'll get a feel for how that is on that day specifically, and we'll see how it goes. Now then, I actually do want to take a quick time to talk about, alongside equipments, obviously, there is the score streaks. The score streaks are powerful this time around, especially things like the Grave Maker. I believe that's what the score streak is called, the Grave Maker. Now, I don't have any footage of myself actually using it, but essentially, it is a rail cannon sniper rifle that can penetrate the entire map and kill your enemies from afar. Literally, you can be in your spawn, and you can kill your enemies from their spawn. That's how powerful it is. It goes through the entire map, and it's just really good penetration damage. The community is already seeing it in a negative light, but the thing is, it's a score streak. Score streaks are meant to be earned and meant to be satisfying and also powerful. The same thing goes for other score streaks as well. The dog is pretty good. I feel like it needs a little bit more HP and a little less time locking on to enemies to shoot them. But that's where the overclock system comes in. The overclock system is new to Black Ops 7, and it's basically like a prestige system for your weapons and equipment. Essentially, it allows you to give your score streaks, equipment, and things like that an extra perk buff in order to fit your playstyle. This is kind of similar to how things were in Infinite Warfare with score streak variants. Now, it's not a full-on variant, and you can only choose one of the two options available to you. Who knows if they'll add more after the game's launch. But you could do things like extend the lifetime of a score streak, extend the damage, extend the range, things like that. So it is nice to have a system where we can make our score streaks more viable, depending on which ones they are. So having that type of system, not just for score streaks, obviously, equipment like grenades and tacticals and stuff like that. There's even prestige attachments and stuff like that for weapons, but not the same system. It's overclocks are for things that are not your weapons, and it gives a nice sense of variety or not diversity, but definitely variety. Being able to unlock something, level up, and have new tech. It gives more flavor. It gives more flavor to the game, I would like to say. So, in terms of gameplay, I would say Black Ops 7 is in a steady, healthy position right now. Of course, that is all subject to change. It depends on what direction Treyarch and Activision take the game. They have the potential to make the game good, but it's up to them whether or not they fulfill that potential. But we'll talk more about that later. Now, let's talk about the stylistic choices when it comes to Black Ops 7. Black Ops 7 takes place 10 years after Black Ops 2, so it is a pretty futuristic type game. It's also 10 years before Black Ops 3 as well, or 30 years, I could be wrong. But essentially, it's a futuristic themed game, and it's definitely obvious with the weapons like the Gravemaker and the score streaks. Yeah, no, not score streaks. Your specialist ability, essentially, like active camo and a decoy dummy. They are themed to futuristic type. They're themed to be futuristic, and it's because of that. It's because of that choice to have the game futuristic that we tend to have a little bit more fun things in the game itself. At least from a gameplay mechanic. Before I get to talk about aesthetics and stuff, from a gameplay mechanic, the choice to be futuristic gives them more creative freedom to do things like creating the Gravemaker score streak, or the dog, and the VTOL score streak, things like that. They're not limited to realism. They can get as crazy as they want to get. But we're here to talk about the aesthetic. Overall, let's talk about the maps. The maps feel better than they did in Black Ops 6. They are indeed dedicated 3-lane maps. Some are better than others, and there's really not much more to say about that. Again, personal opinion. That's why I say they're better than Black Ops 6. But another thing to talk about No, I'm getting ahead of myself. The maps look good. They do play good, at least in respawn game modes. We'll see how they are with search and destroy and stuff like that. I like the way they look. Again, letting the game be themed to futuristic gives them a whole lot of creative freedom to style the map as they choose. We do have remasters of maps coming back, like Nuketown 2023 and things like that. But overall, the game looks good, and it feels, you can definitely tell that it's Black Ops 2. It's past Black Ops 2, but not quite Black Ops 3. It's right there in the middle, if that makes any sense. For the heads-up display and things like that, I don't have a problem with it, really. I don't hate it. It's definitely not my favorite HUD out there. There have been better ones, but there's really nothing wrong with it. It's simple. It's just there. I can't praise it, and I can't hate on it either. It's just there. Now, I honestly thought I would have more to talk about with this segment, but really there's just not much that I could say in terms of the map, in terms of the game's aesthetic choices. It's futuristic, which is good because it's high time that we had another futuristic themed game. We haven't had one since, I want to say, Black Ops 4. And again, that just allows the team to have more creative freedom for the game itself. Gameplay, aesthetics. And actually, while we're on the topic of the maps and things like that, another contentious point is the automatic door system. And while I do understand that automatic doors can be a problem, when you get close to them, they open up and reveal your position, reveal that you're right there. I'm not fully against it. If they were to be removed, then that means you have large lanes in maps that are exposed and easy to camp. You would have people aiming down the hall, just eviscerating people. But, you make them manual again, and it's no different from how the games were previously since 2019. So we're just going to have to see how it is. Maybe the player base can adapt, maybe not. It's really just up to the individuals themselves whether or not they can get around whatever issues they're having with the doors. But I heard that if you shoot them, that solves the problem. So we'll see how it goes. We gotten to the point where I kind of just want to address the concerns I have with the game. Black Ops 7 has potential to be a good game, if not a great game. But if they hold back, if they make poor decisions, then we're going to get let down. And frankly, if they let the community down again, it will be over for Call of Duty. No more do-overs, no more second chances. That's it. Really, this is their last chance to make something that's amazing. And if they can make something amazing, then they can use that feedback to make future games amazing. Yeah, Infinity Ward, Sledgehammer, they're different developing teams from Treyarch, but if they can see what makes a Treyarch game work, then they can use that formula to make their games work. And that's why at the start of the video I said if you guys had any concerns or thoughts of Black Ops 7, please give it in full detail. Because if we don't have full details of what we're worried about or things like that, then they're not going to be able to fix the problem, and Call of Duty will die. I don't want it to die. Call of Duty has been around for years, and it shouldn't end like that on a poor note. It should end with a banger. But I'm yapping too much. Let's get to the things that are of my concern. I mentioned it briefly at the start, but weapon variety. If they allow to make the game of a certain if they allow a meta to exist again, just like Black Ops 6, not so much exists, but if they make it to where weapon variety is not present throughout the game's lifespan, then it's going to become stale very fast. I'm adding this in a post, but they need to add some sort of lunging to melee weapons, or else they are going to suck butt. I'm not so much concerned with the movement of the game, but I'm afraid that we're not going to see the use of the wall jumping mechanic as often as we will with the continuous slide canceling. Slide canceling was always just a problem in terms of these last couple of years with Call of Duty, and really I'm not gonna really see people use that if it's better than wall jumping, if it provides better vantage points or things like that. As that doesn't really make any sense, but you guys get what I'm trying to say. Wall jumping needs to be a viable part of your base kit, and we can't just have another meta of slide canceling, fully automatic weapons and things like that. Score streaks need to stay strong and powerful. That's what they're made for. If a score streak is weak, then there's no point of getting kills for it. And if they nerf it, then what's the point? It's barely going to help you at that point. Like the Gravemaker, I don't want them to nerf that weapon. It takes 9 kills to get that weapon. Essentially, it's 950 points in order to use it in a match. That's roughly 9 kills. So, if I get 9 kills, yeah, I want to be able to use a pretty powerful score streak. I don't want it to suck. So, they need to be extra careful with any sort of balancing to the score streaks. But really the biggest concern I have is with and I mentioned it briefly, it's the Call of Duty community, because there's going to be people who say what they don't like about the game without giving us a full-on description with why they don't like it. People say the game looks like shit, but what is it about the game in itself that makes you have that opinion? It's just a lot, and there's a lot of thoughts that are going around with the game, especially in these first couple days. But in the end, I don't actually have that many concerns. But I guess that's mainly because I just take the game casually at face value at times. So I'm not really too much worried with where it goes. But of course, I want it to be good. Because if it's good, then it's money well spent. It's time well spent. It's just straight up fun, especially from a casual player's perspective. I want the casual player base to be able to enjoy a good, fun Call of Duty that doesn't require them to have to lean forward in their chair and absolutely hurt their fingers by trying. It's just not what Call of Duty is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a fun time where you can relax, take a load off, and just shoot people. And if we are not vocal with any concerns that we have, be it the automatic doors, the score streaks, the weapons, then it's not going to get any better. It's not. But essentially, that is what my thoughts are on the Black Ops 7 beta. I think it is in a healthy state right now with the potential to be a great game. It just needs to take advantage of that potential and continue to provide well-rounded content through the game's lifespan. And that's just for multiplayer. At the time of recording this, the Black Ops 7 beta did release the zombies mode, and I will be making a separate video, maybe a shorter video, about how that feels, because there are also a lot of people with contentious thoughts on Black Ops 7 zombies. But that's for another time. I hope you guys did enjoy listening and watching some gameplay in the background, and I hope that we as a community can come together and sort of tell Treyarch what we want from the game in order for it to be a great game. Until then, take care, and I'll see you all in the next one.